McGraw-Hill Professional presents Small Business Taxes Made Easy, 3rd edition. How to increase your deductions, reduce what you owe, boost your profits, and build a dynasty. Written by Eva Rosenberg, Enrolled Agent. Narrated by Eva Rosenberg. This edition of Small Business Taxes Made Easy is dedicated to my mom, Irene Rosenberg, nonagenarian mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, and matriarch of a growing, thriving family. Acknowledgements. This book was first conceived by the original editor, Danya Dickerson, who called me out of the blue. Michelle R. Wells initiated the second update, then went off to the world of pictures at Penguin. Mary Therese Church brought that edition to fruition. This 3rd edition was nurtured by Cheryl Ringer as a newly minted, full-fledged editor. She has been a spot of sunshine. When it comes to taxes, nothing happens in a vacuum. It's impossible for any one person to know it all. Tax Mama relies on many people to keep me in the loop. Key among them are the hard-working public relations firms for all the top tax software, tax preparation, and publishing companies. They're generous with information, resources, and experts, often on a moment's notice. You make my job look easy. I want to thank the entire family at TaxMama.com and Team Tax Mama, and the students at my enrolled agent school, irsexams.school. Everyone who asks a question or answers it contributes to experiences that shape this book. All my friends on the internet, around the world, in a variety of fields, tell me their stories, help me build and improve my websites, and become the source of stories and cases you're about to enjoy. I'd like to thank Stephen Kirch and Andrea Coombs, 2 special people from Dow Jones, MarketWatch.com, who, with their great patience and despite my pushing deadlines, have helped me shape my writing skills, and all the editors since then who've been patient and kind and who all stood by me as I battled cancer. My thanks also go to Roger B. Adams, an enrolled agent in Lisbon, Portugal, who has become my international tax expert, an instructor at Tax Mama's EA exam review course, and my very dear friend. He's an excellent sounding board for all kinds of tax strategies. And Jean Mammon, enrolled agent, author of the definitive book for taxpayers with international tax issues. You can find that at itaxmama.com/1040nr_book. You can find Jean dispensing wisdom and generous advice at taxmama.com to visa holders, taxpayers with foreign spouses, resident aliens living in the United States, and Americans working overseas. Thanks to the wealth of talented, passionate tax professionals who've been part of my advisory team for the past decades. Michael Rosbrook, CPA, Larry Lawler, CPA, L.G. Brooks, enrolled agent, Jamie Buchwald, CPA, Irina Bobrova, enrolled agent, David Stone, enrolled agent, Bruce Drooks, J.D., Mel Krieger, EA and LLM, Doug Thorburn, EA, Chris Hicks, EA, Saroj Sharma, EA, Galina Metalitsa, EA, Rita Lewis, EA, Fred Daly, tax attorney, David L. Mellum, EA, Tom Blair, EA, Linda Dorfman, EA, Jim Banks, EA, Jan Zobel, EA, Yorda Kidane, EA, Uncle Bill Porter, EA, Mike Reed, EA, especially Susan Holtgrief, enrolled agent, who mentors my EA students, and countless others who inspire me or bring me laughter each day. Thanks to Robert Kerr and the special team of folks at the National Association of Enrolled Agents, NAEA, and the National Association of Tax Professionals, NATP, who advocate tirelessly for enrolled agents' rights and to make the income tax system more helpful to taxpayers, and who provide the enrolled agents who create the questions for the Special Enrollment Examination, also known as the EA exam. I especially want to thank all the folks at the IRS and the Taxpayers Advocate Service who are always so generous to me with their time and humor, both personally and on the job. My gratitude also goes to the team at the Los Angeles Stakeholder Liaison Teams who work long hours to keep people informed, fix errors when we find them, and do it all with grace and good spirit. Thanks also to those special, dedicated folks at the IRS who actually go out of their way to help complete strangers solve their problems. They prove that a tax system can be administered fairly. Introduction. A letter from Eva Rosenberg to you, the business owner. Dear entrepreneur, yes, you. If you're starting a business, please start thinking of yourself right now as an entrepreneur. Since this book was first published in 2004, TaxBomb has received many letters from business owners with two themes. One, I wish I had read this book before starting my business. It would have saved me a fortune in time, money, taxes, and errors. Two, even though I've been in business for many years, this book has helped me cut my taxes and increase my profits. It's my new business Bible. Why are people saying things like that? Because Small Business Taxes Made Easy is a book you can use on a day-to-day basis to keep your business on a path to profits and success. Many books on the market tell you how to organize your business records, prepare your tax returns, even how to make decisions or choices. Some are excellent. So why does the world need yet another book on small business taxes? Because even the best books focus primarily on the record-keeping or legal aspects of small business taxes. For your business to succeed, you must also understand how the reporting requirements can be used to improve your business management, provide better decision-making tools, and increase your profits. Providing that information is what makes this book different. With all the resentment and resistance toward paying taxes and toward the flood of reporting requirements, you've got to see what's in it for you. What do you get from your investment of time and money? It doesn't only benefit the IRS and your state and local governments. While each chapter of this book explains tax concepts and responsibilities, it also helps you understand how you benefit from following those guidelines. You're not in business to supply a flood of paperwork to the government, nor are you sweating blood trying to meet your business, financial, and family obligations in order to buy your Tax Pro and new BMW. You're in business to have more control of your life and time, to earn more money than you could on a job, and to build a future and a legacy for your family and future generations. Otherwise, why work so hard? Just go back to your traditional 9-to-5 job. Seriously, there's more to running a business than appears on the surface. Some people make it appear effortless, and they often go out of business quickly as a result. Others make it seem a gargantuan burden, and they end up hating every minute of it. They destroy their family and relationships in the process, blaming everyone else for their failures. Then there are those people who start up and everything goes right. Life is good, family and social relationships remain solid, and they maintain balance in their lives. That's what I want for you. Listening to the news, you often hear when large businesses fail. You're probably still shaking your head over the whole dot-com bust several years ago, wondering how all those businesses failed after raising millions of dollars in venture capital or through their initial public offering. Well, the venture capitalists learned a hard lesson from that too, and they are far more discerning about how they invest their funds these days. So if you want their investment in your business, you will need to show well-thought-out structures and planning. The businesses that failed went wrong in one or all of three ways. 1, they didn't have a realistic business plan. 2, they didn't plan for success. 3, they were run by immature and inexperienced people who simply blew all the money without looking for reasonable returns on their spending. You're buying this book to avoid all those mistakes. Use this book to learn from others' failures and successes. Please make a commitment to devote all the time and resources needed to make your business work. Otherwise, put this book back on the shelf. It's not for you. Using this book. I didn't write this book to bore you, bully you, or to enable your failure. If you can't make a serious commitment to create your business plan, set up and use a proper accounting system, and be ethical in tax reporting, please don't start the business. You'll earn much more with less effort, less stress, and less risk with a job working for someone else. Really, you will. Let me tell you a story about a very successful and brilliant film editor. Marie was at the top of her industry, earning a healthy 6-figure income. She was popular with the filmmakers and knew she could attract clients if she went out on her own. In fact, her own employer was willing to subcontract to her. Sounds good, right? And it was. At first, Marie always had enough work to support the costs of several editors and other staff members. Unfortunately, she hired a good friend as her office manager and bookkeeper. Sally did a great job, until she didn't. Sally was an alcoholic, and, well, let's say she got distracted. Bills weren't being paid. Worst of all, payroll taxes weren't being paid. By the time Marie called me in a panic, she needed to cover close to $50,000 worth of delinquent payroll taxes. Fine. I had a good friend managing a bank, and we got her a quick line of credit to get her out of trouble with the IRS and the state of California. But from then on, she was never able to get the right administrator and stressed out for years with one business problem after another. Marie learned that she just wasn't good at running a business with all the myriad of administrative nonsense, but she was great as an editor and team manager. Finally, she decided to leave the bureaucracy to somebody else and got reemployed. Since then, she's had the opportunity to be the head of the production team designing visual effects for an Academy Award-winning film, edit many TV shows with which you are familiar, and create compelling trailers for many films. So be honest with yourself. If you're not a capable administrator, maybe you should just renegotiate your compensation or position at work, or look for a better job if you're unhappy at work. But if you still want to start or be in business, here's your next important consideration. Take into account how much you could earn on a job or on the money you're investing to get this business going. Even if you borrow the money, think of how many hours of work it will take to pay it back. Those are called opportunity costs. It's important to understand what you're giving up to start your business. When I started my business, I knew what I was getting into. I relish the independence and the lack of office politics. I love my clients, the people I work with, and the people whom I consult. And I'm free to turn down clients when my instincts suggest they will be trouble, whether professionally or personally. Despite being constantly behind in my workload, I rejoice in the flood of new work and fresh ideas that comes pouring in each day from friends and readers. Here are the 2 most important things I want you to know going in. Love what you do. Don't delude yourself into thinking your goal is to pay the least amount of tax possible. Your real goal is to end up with the highest disposable income possible and to be in great physical and mental health when you get there. That's what I'd like to help you achieve. You're about to learn how following the IRS's rules for small business owners will make you richer, happier, and less stressed. Tax Mama's warning. Although I can make changes at the IRS, I can't change grammatical rules. So, wherever you see web addresses, URLs in this book that seem to have colons, commas, or periods in the last character, ignore that final character when typing them into your browser. Comparing a job and a business. Be sure to understand these distinctions between a job and a business. People starting out on their own rarely realize just how many things they've taken for granted on a job. These are the things that just happened invisibly in the background, taken care of by your employer's infrastructure. Even if you felt as though you were doing most of it for him or her, when you're on your own, the sidebar will show you just how many more things you'll need to oversee, things that will drain your time, patience, and resources. One of the biggest complaints from people working for others is that they do not have control over their income. Their bosses can cut their commissions, territories, or bonuses at will, and often do. When you're in business for yourself, if you earn it, you reap the rewards. When you have a traditional job. Let's talk about the good things, and then we'll talk about the bad things. The good things. Your boss ensures there's money coming in, that it gets into the bank, and that your payroll is covered. Your boss pays your payroll taxes, your workers' compensation insurance, your vacations and sick pay, possibly even health insurance. Your boss or staff paid by your boss gets the customers, orders and pays for the supplies you use, buys and sets up your computer, telephone, and the other tools you take for granted every day, and arranges to keep them all in good working order. Your boss arranges to take care of all the billing, the administrative paperwork, all the day-to-day trivia needed to run a business. All you have to do is show up and do your job. You get your paycheck, leave, and don't have to think about things once you're off the clock. Now, let's look at the bad things. What if you have to leave for a little while or need the day off? You have to ask permission, which you sometimes don't get, or you have to lie about situations such as you've got a doctor's appointment, your kids have a recital, you're not feeling well, you just don't feel like working. Or you hate a customer or client, you're stuck dealing with people if they're important to your boss. You don't like a business practice or policy? If you want to keep your job, you've got to do it your boss's way. Your boss assigns the workload. How many times has someone dumped stuff on you at the last minute that's been sitting there for weeks? You have to work overtime you hadn't anticipated. You don't get raises when you feel you've earned them, or you have to go hat in hand to request them. You have to work with managers who don't know what they're doing, and you have to cover for their mistakes. You face periodic employee reviews or none at all when you really should be meeting with the boss to discuss key issues that should be reviewed. Your company leaders might not offer logical employee benefits, like flexible spending accounts or retirement plans, and they won't listen to your explanations about how beneficial they can be to the employer. You don't have power. Now, let's look at what happens when you have a business. Let's start with the bad things. I always like to leave you with the good ones. The bad things. You have to take the time to do all those things listed in the good things column under when you have a traditional job. Or you have to pay people to do all those things. So you must generate enough extra income to cover their compensation. Trying to do it all yourself won't give you time to sell and build your customer or client base. Or if you do have the time, you won't have the time to do the work. So you'll need to learn the most cost-effective use of your time. You'll want to learn what to outsource or hire staff to do and what is worth doing yourself. Or you'll need to create a solid budget and business plan to determine how much money you'll need to raise to cover your operating costs and staff until your business starts to turn a profit. Remember, while being in business for yourself does mean you work your own hours, it could mean you work all of them. Expect to put in 50% to 75% more hours than you worked having a traditional job. Now let's look at the good things about having a business. You can take time off anytime that suits you. No excuses or lies needed. You don't have to keep clients or customers who treat you without respect, or you can charge them lots more to make it worth your while. You set the policies. You never have to do anything against your morals or ethics. You get to try out new ideas and take chances to enhance your customers' or clients' experience with your company. You get to build retirement savings and reduce your tax hit. You get to hire your family or friends, if qualified, without having to be concerned about nepotism. Best of all, you get to enjoy your life. Be sure to read the lists to understand the additional demands that owning a business places on you and your family. Think deeply how all the extra time you spend working will affect your relationships with your parents, spouse, children, and friends. Will you miss the important moments in your children's lives? Or will your business give you the freedom to be present? Before you tackle a new business, visualize how your life will look and feel once you've embarked on this challenge. Remember to use the downloadable to-do lists at yourbusinessbible.com to help you stay focused and organized. If you're still prepared to go forward, if I can't talk you out of it, if you're getting really excited about your business, then let's get to work. You're going to do great. Join me for your adventure in building a business and a legacy. Best wishes, Eva Rosenberg, EA, your tax mama. Lighten up. You're about to venture into dangerous and terrifying territory, the world of taxes. It's not as bad as you think. Get comfortable with the humor and ironies in this ever-shifting world. It will make all the onerous rules easier to bear. Believe it or not, these quotes come to you courtesy of the Internal Revenue Service and other fine folks. Come back to this page anytime your spirits need a boost of humor. Here are some terrific quotes. This one comes from Unknown. Did you ever notice that when you put the words "the" and IRS together, it spells theirs? This quote is from Linda Dorfmont, an enrolled agent. He who gets his tax advice out of a Cracker Jack box doesn't always get Cracker Jack advice. Oliver Wendell Holmes, Jr., the U.S. Supreme Court Justice, said, "I like to pay taxes. With them, I buy civilization." George Bernard Shaw, the Irish playwright, said, "The government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always depend on the support of Paul." Benjamin Franklin wrote in Poor Richard's Almanac, "Taxes are indeed very heavy, and if those laid on by the government were the only ones we had to pay, we might more easily discharge them, but we have many others, and much more grievous to some of us. We are taxed twice as much by our idleness, 3 times as much by our pride, and 4 times as much by our folly." Will Rogers, the writer and humorist, said, "Alexander Hamilton started the U.S. Treasury with nothing, and that was the closest our country has ever been to being even." Mark Twain, another writer and humorist, said, "The only difference between a taxman and a taxidermist is that the taxidermist leaves the skin." Eva Rosenberg, your tax mama, says, "Excellence is a good habit, but do not strive for perfection. It will prevent you from ever finishing anything." Back to George Bernard Shaw, the Irish playwright. The 7 deadly sins: food, clothing, firing, rent, taxes, respectability, and children. Nothing can lift those 7 millstones from man's neck but money, and the spirit cannot soar until the millstones are lifted. From Albert Einstein, the physicist, we get, "The hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax." Thomas Dewar, 1st Baron Dewar, said, "The only thing that hurts more than paying an income tax is not having to pay an income tax. And Tax Mama concludes the quotes with, "A good tax return is like a good mystery novel. You follow the clues, make deductions, and arrive at a profitable conclusion." Visit TaxMama.com for more humor in the Money Funnies column, and please feel free to submit your own clean jokes too. How to use this book. At the beginning of each chapter, you will find a to-do list and questionnaire. Listen to the list and keep it in mind while you read the chapter. As you go along, perform the tasks on the list. If you put everything you do into this book, it will become your business Bible. In fact, you can pick up a complete set of these to-do lists at yourbusinessbible.com. Enter the dates you complete the tasks. Enter the dates you schedule the meetings. Set the deadlines. Enter the answers to the questions. Fill out the forms. Enter the relevant ID numbers as you apply for the licenses or government IDs and programs. Make copies of all relevant documents and place them behind the to-do list page. Use the resources at the end of each chapter to help you save taxes, operate your business, and increase your profits. Incidentally, as you may have realized, tax laws change constantly, and most deductions, exemptions, and limits change annually. In fact, by the time this book reaches your hands, there may already be changes and updates. To get a quick summary of the updates, please visit yourbusinessbible.com. A note about the links in this book. Many of the URLs in this book start with iTaxMama.com. These are tiny.cc URLs that allow me to edit the underlying link. Too often, links on the internet change. So if one of these links doesn't work, please let me know, and I can fix the underlying link without needing to change the link in the book. Ain't technology grand? Disclosure. Some of the links in the book go to sites that pay me a commission. I don't recommend the sites because of the commission. They're recommended because they're good resources. But getting a referral fee never hurts. In fact, it's a good idea for you to learn how to use affiliate marketing yourself, both to earn commissions and to build a referral base to help you sell your products or services. A good place to learn about this is at Affiliate Summit, iTaxMama.com/affiliate summit. Chapter 1, Small Business Checklist. To-do list and questionnaire. Fill in this worksheet as you work your way through the book. Each chapter will contribute information to help you complete this. This will be your master summary of the key information related to your business. Consider using an expandable file with A to Z pockets for this purpose. The files come in paper or plastic for under $15. 1. Set up your advisory team and meeting schedule. List the names and contacts of all the members on an attached sheet. 2. Contact small business advocacy groups and research your industry. Lay the groundwork for your business. List the new resources you've just learned about. 3. What is your business focus? List the top 2 things your business will do or sell. 4. Start the outline for your business plan. What is your first business target? 5. Start thinking about your business structure to incorporate or which business entity do you think is the best for you and why? 6. Select a business name. 7. Set up a corporation, partnership, or LLC if you plan to be one. 8. Open a business bank account. List the bank name and account number. 9. Select your accounting system or systems. 10. Research your business licenses. Make a list of all the licenses you need and have on an attached sheet of paper. Include the agency, license number, expiration date, if any, cost, and contact information. 11.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?